What's up, everybody? So I'm back with another reaction video. This is a South Park reaction video, but I'm not actually reacting to like a compilation. This is Cartman, toxic Cartman, and Heidi, who I'm assuming is his girlfriend. It says the psychology of a toxic relationship. So his little elementary school toxic relationship. But you know what? I'm not surprised because it's Cartman and he's wild. So let's see this person break down the timeline, the toxicity that he exudes with this poor Heidi. Hopefully she can hold her own though, you know? But let's see.
Is a pretty horrible person just in general. And no matter how bad I felt for him after seeing his future at the end of the Return of COVID special, I will still acknowledge that someone of his character, at least in this
Ooh, I want to see that. I want to see his future.
But someone like this can catch the right person at the right time when they're more vulnerable than ever before. The outcome can be devastating. And with Cartman and Heidi, we got to see the outcome of this perfect storm of events unfold on our television screens in a way that is rarely seen in other forms of media. And as horrible as this relationship was, it's an
his shirt, Token's life matters. I can't deal with it.
Find themselves in a similar situation. So with the intro out of the way, let's get into it. Cartman and Heidi, the psychology of a toxic relationship. I'm not a psychologist. Once again, this video is just for fun, to look too deeply into a relationship of cartoon characters, so don't take it too seriously. Okay, now we can actually start. If you'll once again think back to that video, I came up with an unofficial diagnosis for Cartman in terms of what causes him to behave the way he does, and in my unqualified opinion, Cartman fell into the category of a narcissist. And because of this, as we progress through the different stages of their relationship, I will be referencing this list I found on the website Healthline that goes into
11 signs you're dating a narcissist and how to get out.
Using it to compare the actions we see from Cartman throughout the relationship, and I'm sure there will be no issue with that, as I'm sure this article was written by an actual psychologist. Okay, that was supposed to be a joke, but upon further research, I realized this article was actually verified by an actual doctor of psychology. So, never mind, I guess we can take everything this article says as gospel. Cartman and Heidi's relationship was built on shaky ground. Heidi decides to quit Twitter and any other form of social media by throwing her phone off a bridge. Cartman has all of his devices destroyed by the other boys after they accuse him of being the notorious internet troll SkankHunt42.
Him in this shirt.
Because of these circumstances, Heidi talks to Eric, as she can understand what he's going through. She feels bad for him, and the writers make it clear that that's a big factor in forming their future. Where we get to the first sign of dating a narcissist, being initially charming. Obviously, being charming isn't enough to call someone a narcissist.
She found him charming.
With the context of how this relationship plays out, this is clearly an early sign of what's to come. From the moment Heidi talked to Cartman for the
Look
first
at the way
time,
she's looking at him.
saying everything she wanted to hear, repeating over and over again how she's so smart and funny. Specifically funny because, as he is quick to remind everyone countless times throughout season 20,
girls rule, women are funny, get over it.
Now,
Period.
to the untrained eye, this may seem genuine, as he's in love for the first time, and is experiencing all the emotions that come with it. But, we're talking about Eric Cartman here. Every little compliment and repeated mantra of smart and funny...
Why are they in there when he's on the toilet?
Building Heidi up by telling her how awesome she is and making her believe that she's special to him. All of this building up is done with the foresight of how it can be used against her later, and we'll get to that. But in the second half of season 20, we begin to see the first cracks in the facade Cartman is putting on.
I love these shirts. I'm with smart and funny, and hers is pointing at him saying, I'm with stupid.
He panics because of some emails he sent to Butters about women not being funny. Knowing that Cartman has been lying to Heidi about women being funny gives us our first taste of a trait that will get much worse later on, and that is manipulation and gaslighting. This shows that from the beginning, Cartman has been using the women are funny line to manipulate Heidi into liking him more. But as I mentioned, this is only the beginning. Throughout the rest of season 20, he begins to believe that all women are the same, and that they plan to make men irrelevant. Season 21,
I love all their shirts.
When we get to see his true intentions come out.
Oh, hey babe, what's going on?
He better not do Heidi like that.
We see a drastic shift in Cartman's behavior around Heidi.
Like she's bothering him or something.
He was excited to see Heidi. Now he seems completely deflated and exhausted at the thought of her even existing. And I've seen a lot of people question what exactly caused this change. Why did Cartman all of a sudden become so unhappy in his relationship when this was him before? Well, the answer is actually pretty obvious when you take into account what a narcissist would be looking for in a romantic relationship. That is, control. Because a narcissist only considers their own needs, they'd be more drawn to people that are easier to control, to do exactly what they want when they want. And from the very first scene of this
Why
season,
is that
we
baby's
see
head
Cartman
not
has gotten
attached?
exactly that in a new form. Cartman now has an Alexa, and it gives him everything he wants from a relationship with Heidi. A personal servant that listens to his every command without question and is smart and funny. I mean, this basically renders Heidi completely useless in his mind. Also, they basically spell it out for us in this clip.
You're so... Alexa, define subservient.
The term subservient has several uses. As an adjective: 1. Compliant and obedient to authority. 2.
Alexa, silence!
I can't stand him.
So then if Cartman basically has everything he wants in the form of a talking AI, why does he keep Heidi around? Well, because he still enjoys that feeling of control I mentioned earlier, but more importantly, staying with Heidi strokes his ego. Narcissists thrive off of putting others down to boost their own ego, and he knows that if he keeps Heidi around, he can do this to her all he wants. And the mental abuse just gets worse from here, as later in this episode, we see another sign of his narcissistic side come out: the gaslighting. He begins to call Heidi mentally abusive, accusing her of basically everything he himself is doing, like
Of
building
course.
her up to tear her down. This gaslighting is strategic, making himself out to be the victim in a situation where he is clearly the problem. If he can make Heidi believe that he's the victim,
The tears in the
then it
blanket,
shifts the
so
blame away
dramatic.
from himself, and the cycle can continue. Unfortunately for Heidi, it does work, and she apologizes for everything, even though she's done nothing wrong.
Poor
Cartman actually
Heidi.
ends up breaking up with her, once again gaslighting Heidi by claiming she's playing the victim. This is all just another power move, as he clearly intends on getting back with her. He's just doing it to further incept the idea that she's abusive into her mind. His mental manipulation of Heidi worsens in the next episode, when it's revealed that he begged Heidi to take him back, threatening to end his own life if she doesn't. This is a pretty
He is
classic
so
manipulative behavior,
toxic.
common in toxic relationships, as it puts the person getting manipulated into an unwinnable situation if they believe the other person might actually do it. And of course,
They are
this is another sign of a narcissist.
Babies. They're
ending with
literally
being
in
broken up
elementary
with.
school.
There are countless more examples of Cartman's manipulative behavior, such as accusing Heidi of cheating, pretending to be a suicide activist to stroke his own ego, and literally trying to murder Heidi by taking her on a walk through the woods dressed as Hansel and Gretel when they know there's a witch on loose. Okay, that one's pretty funny just because of how absurd it is, but...
No,
anyways.
seriously. Very
If I
absurd.
listed everything in this video, it would be 30 minutes long. So let's go ahead and move on to the outcome of all this abuse.
Oh, hey, babe, what's going on?
She looked sick and tired of his shit now. She had acne.
So I've been talking this whole time about how Cartman has been mentally abusive towards Heidi, but I haven't really talked much about the actual effects the abuse has had on her. Episode 7 of Season 21 opens with Cartman once again threatening to end his own life if Heidi doesn't get back with him. He tries to blame his actions on everything besides himself, eventually saying his anger is caused by his blood sugar since he eats so unhealthily. Heidi propositions a vegan diet, and he agrees to it to keep their relationship. He begins to feed her non-vegan food, lying to her, telling her it is vegan. She begins to gain some weight, and Cartman is constantly ridiculing her for this, once again putting her down to make himself feel better. We get our first real look into Heidi's feelings about the relationship when Kyle gets involved and tries to explain to her that people like Cartman will always victimize themselves to have the edge over others. She explains
Poor
how she was
Heidi.
in a vulnerable place when they started dating, and she kind of just went along with it. Now she's been defending him for so long that she can't imagine facing anyone if she actually broke up with him. This type of mindset is very
Aww.
common in not only
Look at
toxic
his
relationships,
face.
but abusive ones. As the victims have experienced so much abuse and manipulation, they feel trapped in their situation with no way out. Kyle actually talks her into breaking up with Cartman, but when she's ridiculed by her friends for ever being with Cartman, she gets defensive and returns to him. It's
Aw.
just like the title of the episode.
This is so
She's
sad.
doubling down. She doesn't want to feel like an idiot for being in the relationship, and when her friends make her feel like one, she wants to prove them wrong. At this point, being trapped in a relationship with a narcissist,
I
Heidi
can't
has
stand
two
him.
options in her mind. A, she can continue on in this relationship as it is now, horribly emotional since Cartman is always trying to make her think she's a bad person, or B, stoop to his level and use his own tactics against him. Play the victim.
Look at her.
even
She looked
harder.
like him right there. Oh my gosh.
She chooses the second option, and this leads her to becoming a near clone of Cartman.
Yes, she
She's
looks like
built
him.
she talks like him, is a jerk to everyone like him, and manipulates people like him. She's even better at being Cartman than Cartman is, because, as Mr. Mackey puts it,
She's kinda like Cartman, but with the ability to follow through.
Oh, dude. Bro.
She's truly become a terrifying force to be reckoned with. It even escalates from mental abuse to physical abuse, as now they're fighting in the hallways of school. She's truly outdone Cartman in her ability to play the victim, a feat which is equally as impressive.
Yo,
as
this
it
is
terrible.
crazy to me.
This all comes to a head in the final episode of season 21. Throughout the episode, they pass by significant locations throughout Cartman and Heidi's relationship, and she slowly begins to put the pieces together. By the end of the episode, she finally realizes what she's become. She realizes what
Not a
Cartman is
gun in front of the
while she
town.
recognizes
Everyone in the town
Cartman's
sees
part
this.
into making her into the person she is today, she also blames herself. She understands that she let the idea of being a victim overtake her life and become who she is. She realizes Cartman's train of thought. If you're always the victim, you can justify being a horrible person. She understands that the only way out now is to stop feeling sorry for herself and move on. She breaks up with Cartman on the spot. He tries his tactics of threatening his own life, but she doesn't buy into it anymore. She allows Cartman to play the victim for the last time, telling him she's done doing the same. And
Yes,
she walks
Heidi.
away, ending it for good.
Yes.
If you always make yourself the victim, you can justify being awful.
While
And in
Cartman has
conclusion-
done countless horrible things over the years, something about his treatment of Heidi will always stick with me as particularly evil. The way he took a girl who was so kind and caring and tore her down over and over again until she was an unrecognizable shell of her former self just hurts my soul. And I think it's because of how well they portrayed the psychology of a relationship with a narcissist. Most of Cartman's horrible actions are played for laughs or shock value, and they don't have the same impact because there's always a degree of separation from reality that makes it feel just absurd enough to laugh at. But with this relationship, at times, it felt too real. Like, I was really watching the slow breakdown of a girl's mind at the hands of a narcissist. It makes you think about all the people experiencing the same thing out there in the real
That's what
world.
I'm saying. Like, she's so little experiencing these big girl issues.
If
It's
you're
like,
out there
ooh,
right
that's
now
why I was like, this is sad.
experiencing something like this, don't be afraid to get help and move on.
For sure.
It's like the writers are saying in the message behind this relationship. You can't fix people like this, so don't try. And now, hopefully, we all have a better understanding of the psychology of a toxic relationship.
That was crazy. Like I said, this is insane to think that she's a little girl going through all of these issues. Why is he threatening to kill herself? Like, that is taking it too far. Okay, too far. And then she gained weight. She's looking like a little female Cartman. They said that she was being rude and mean. She literally was fighting him, held a gun to him in the middle of the street. Like, this is just taking it a little too far. Okay, so yeah, I really keep saying that I'm gonna watch full videos of South Park on here, and I really am gonna start. I have like a few episodes in mind that were recommended to me that I'm going to watch on here. So yeah, stay tuned for that.